Right, let's start. Hi everyone and welcome to the FTV Presentation Webinar. It's Raffaele here, and today we are going to discuss about a recently released boiler, which is the FTV series. This product is available since few months now, and we want to prepare in due time for the next heating season that is almost starting, and we believe it will be very important for the ramp up of this series in particular. Today we are going to cover three main areas. First of all, we will review the product characteristics and unique features. Then we will talk about its positioning in the marketplace. And finally, we will compare the FTV with some of its direct competitors. At the end of the presentation, we will have 30 to 45 minutes open for discussion, so I invite you to take notes during the presentation and ask any clarification at the end. To make the webinar more effective, you are all muted, and I will open your mic for the Q&A session only. All right, so let's jump into the presentation, and to do that, I invite to take the floor to the newest addition to our NTI family, who is Dave Walsh, who is our VP of Sales for the US, that I'm sure most of you already know. Go ahead, Dave.
Thank you, Raphael. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us this afternoon. What Raphael and I did is put a quick PowerPoint presentation together that we can share with the sales team to cover the features and benefits, and give a simple sales presentation by you or the reps or the distributor salespeople, what have you, to walk through this new product. It was kind of a soft launch before, so this just gives you another tool to help promote this new product. So as you're probably aware, it comes in 3 different sizes and 6 different models. So a 110, a 150, and a 190,000 BTUs available in a heat-only or a combi. And that BTU range covers well over 75% of the residential condensing market. All models and sizes are 95% AFUE, which is, as we know, is pretty much the industry standard now for condensing boilers. And so that therefore would qualify for the rebates in nearly all jurisdictions, whether federal, local, Energy Star related type of rebates. It features a 10-to-1 turn-down ratio, which reduces cycling, as we know, but also provides better comfort and accuracy to match the heating load in every specific application. Go ahead. So let's start with the heat exchanger. With the FTV, we continue to expand our fire tube offering. So it's a high quality design. It is a different heat exchanger that's in the TFT and the VMAX. It's a new fire tube heat exchanger for us, but it's still a high quality design. It's made of 439 stainless steel, and from the same supplier as our other heat exchangers. Being a fire tube, vertical fire tube, it tends to be what they call a self-cleaning design. And so being self-cleaning and vertically mounted, the condensate has a tendency to wash out any combustion particles that may accumulate on the heat exchanger. So it tends to have a lower maintenance requirement. And it's been used throughout the industry. And this type of design tends to be trusted by the more high-end or demanding contractors who wish to stay away from, say, a water tube, heat exchanger, or aluminum, or something to that effect. All sizes carry the ASME H stamp, which is important for many applications, and has a maximum working pressure of 50 psi. On the combi unit, every combi unit has an integrated hydroblock, which includes the primary pump, a brazed plate heat exchanger to provide domestic hot water, and an internal pressure bypass, which we'll cover in just a moment. Every combi features either a low loss header or the primary loop is included. So what I mean by that is for systems that have requirements of no more than 6 GPM at 9 feet ahead, you do not need to even use the low loss header. Anything above and beyond that, you would require the use of the low-loss header that is included with every combi boiler. But to be quite honest with you, to play it safe, I would put the low-loss header on most applications and not leave it to the contractor to guess. But if they're certain that they have 6 GPM and no more than 9 feet ahead, the internal circulator on the hydro block will do the job to act as a system pump. The 190,000 BTU model can give us up to 4.5 GPM, which is, at the very high end of what the industry has to offer. And, go ahead. So if you look at the two applications, the one on the left includes the low-loss header, and to the left of the boiler, you'll see you'll need to add a system pump. But as I mentioned, over to the right-hand side now, if the installation has no more than 6 GPM at 9 feet ahead, the internal circulator can work as the system pump. But we just need to make sure we do our due diligence to make sure that the system is indeed no more than 6 GPM at 9 feet ahead. But if that is the case, a small apartment or a small residential application, as I said, the internal circulator can work as the system pump, and no manifold would be required. Now, I can share with the group, before coming on board with NTI has always been known for just always having a robust combustion system, and I never knew why. And very, very strong reputation as a quality product in the field. And it's come to know that NTI has a legendary ignition, and we are one of the only manufacturers that use an external high-energy 14,000-volt spark transformer. Nearly all of our competition gets the spark out of the control module. We separate the spark ignition from the control module and use, as everybody hopefully knows on the call here, a separate hydro level spark generator, and that gives us much more stable and consistent combustion. And we also utilize separate flame rod and dual ignition electrode. Every FTV boiler is shipped as set for natural gas from the factory. However, to convert it to LP, it's very simple. It's merely just changing the Venturi baffle to the LP version. And it just takes 2 screws to remove that off the Venturi. And there's actually a slotted key spot to avoid repositioning it out of place. So it literally takes about 2 minutes, if that, to convert the product from natural to LP gas. And in fact, as I showed this product to several contractors, it's kind of the little things that make a difference. And as with all of our wall hung products, the FTV carries the 120 volt convenience outlet that can be used to power a condensate pump, or if for some reason they're there to troubleshoot the boiler. If they shut the boiler off at the boiler, the power remains at the outlet, so they can use it for to charge their combustion analyzer or what have you. So it's a very, very nice service feature. The connections inside the boiler utilize either unions or release clips for a quick and easy maintenance. Every boiler is provided with outdoor reset sensor, and the domestic hot water sensor is a kind of a unique design in the industry with no moving parts. It's just a sensor. So as we look at installation and maintenance, so as with most condensing boilers, primary, secondary is required at most of the time. As I said, in those other installations where we don't exceed those system characteristics, we do not need it, but every combi boiler is shipped with its own low loss header. And it's been proven time and time again that between the cost of either the competitor's manifold or the components to assemble that and put it together in the field will save the contractor up to $500. The low loss header also provides a location for the tridicator, and it's a proven design, and it's spaced properly to not provide any ghost flow through the heat exchanger. Being a vertical fire tube, it's a very low pressure drop design. So no high head pumps are required. It tends to have lower operating cost and can be connected to virtually any system, high water content, multi-zones, so forth and so on. As far as the venting is concerned, we can go up to 100 feet with 2-inch pipe and up to 150 feet with 3-inch pipe. And the combustion air and flue gas connections, we have a test port to fine tune or connect your analyzer to. And all models can accept either PVC, depending on the local codes. Some folks have outlawed that, polypropylene, or stainless steel without the use of any special adapters. This one fitting will accept PVC, polypropylene, or stainless steel. So let's talk about where the FTV fits in the overall market. As we know, the market is kind of segmented into the good, better, best. And in that higher end segment of the market, we have the TFT and the VMAX. And in the fastest growing segment of the market, which is the low cost segment, driven by Navien and Lock & Von Noble and so forth, the FTV expands our ability to fight in that segment. Obviously, on the water tube side, we have the TX, but now the FTV fits a niche where we can go after the Lock & Von Noble customer, somebody who maybe is using the Wiesmann Vitoden, the Weil-McLean Eco, the IBC boiler, or the new U.S. boiler, Burnham Aspen, and many other competitors in this space. And you'll see the pricing, I hope you'll see the pricing has really segmented and settled into a very competitive position. What we've put together for part of this presentation is a simple competitive comparison based on those main competitors of Lock & Von Noble, which is called the Epic in Canada, the Wiesmann Vitoden 100, or the Weil-McLean Eco. So you can go through this chart and see how we line up, but Raffaele and I have highlighted some significant ones. First of all, go ahead. As far as having a heat only and a combi throughout the line, we are the only ones to have it on the 110, 150, and 190. Lock & Von does not. Wiesmann does, but only on the 125, and the Weil-McLean does not offer that as well. External ignition, we spent a little bit of time talking about the 14,000 volt separated ignition transformer. We are the only one in this class and one of the only few in the industry to have that. So that's a significant competitive advantage over the competition. When you're trying to convert somebody and they say, well, why would I switch? And if we can demonstrate the combustion quality and the dependability of the FTV, that would go a long way into converting them. Go ahead. As far as domestic hot water is concerned, we line up extremely well on the mid sizes and the large sizes. Where we excel is the low end. On the 110, we provide 2.9 gallons versus, say, Lock & Von's 2.6. Primary, secondary piping included. We are the only one in the segment that, amongst these competitors, that provides the low loss header. We are the only one in the segment, again, that provides the convenient outlet, which is, again, that's a time saver for the contractor. In order to install his condensate pump, he can merely plug it into the side of the boiler. And as I said, it stays live during servicing and troubleshooting. So for a drop light or a combustion analyzer, what have you. And last but not least, the warranty of the FTV is superior to the competition. We do have a limited lifetime warranty versus the 10 or 12-year warranties that are in place with Lock & Von Wiesmann and the Weil-McLean Eco. So this presentation was really not meant to be a full-blown technical presentation, but a simple 10-page presentation or booklet you could put together and either share with a contractor, share with your reps to simply, quickly, and easily extol the virtues, if you will, of the FTV boiler. So in just a moment here, we'll open it up to question and answers. Raffaele will unmute everybody, but I did want to say everybody will get this presentation after the conclusion of today's presentation in both PDF and PowerPoint format.
Thank you, Dave. Now I'm going to open all microphones, so I kindly ask those of you who are in a noisy place to mute your mic, and after the question I will mute again to hear the reply.
1-7.
Okay, so first question.
Any questions? Nope. Well, I guess we don't have any questions from the audience here.
I do have a question.
Okay, great.
This is Travis in Omaha. What is the availability?
All sizes are.
You cut out there for a second, Travis.
What is the availability of all three of the sizes in both combi as well as straight boiler?
So the question was as to the availability. All sizes and heat only and combi are now available. So we're taking orders and shipping product.
I have a question. Is the vent length the same on LP as it is natural?
I believe it is. I believe Jason Thompson's over at St. John. Maybe he can confirm that.
Yes. Yes, the vent length is the same for natural propane.
Is it also the same for all sizes?
Good question. Just give me a
If you
minute
didn't
to
hear
check.
the question was, is it the same for all sizes?
We're checking.
Any other question in the meantime?
Hey, David. Hey, Raphael. It's Dwayne Withers from Corbron. How you guys doing?
Good, Dwayne. How you doing?
Doing well. Doing well. So we had one come in, took it out of the box, and the condensate prep was the old version versus some of the newer condensate panel and some of the other equipment that's coming in. What's the reason for that?
Unless you're talking, would you mute your mics, please? Yeah.
Let me just address the question before. 2-inch pipe size is applicable to the 110 and 150 models, not the 190 models. That's 3-inch only, but it's up to 150 feet. For the condensate drain, condensate trap, the version used on the FTV is the same as that's used on the TX and has always been used on the TX. And it's the same as what's used on the newest TFT models. So it is a version we've used for many years. So you might have expected an intermediate condensate trap that we've used for a number of years on VMAX and TFT. Unless you receive something very strange.
I don't think Dwayne asked this whole question. I think he said there's something wrong with it.
Nothing wrong. Just noticed that it was a little different from what we expected coming out of the box. I'm sure both work adequately and do a good job. Just didn't know what was the reasoning behind picking one over the other than if it's just cost, then it's just cost.
It's not. Sorry, it's not cost. The FTV, like the TX, which maybe you're not familiar with the TX, it incorporates into the cabinet on the bottom a nut to thread on the very specific condensate trap. So the other style just won't work.
Okay.
So it's very specific.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I missed the very first part, and maybe you covered this, but what is the water content of the models?
There came a earlier. Yesterday he had the wrong address. I couldn't find it. Somebody swung by in the truck. Oh, yeah.
I don't know if it was in the presentation, but the 110 models contain about 1.5 gallon. The 150 models, 2 gallons. And the 190 models, just over 2.5 gallons.
Yep.
Hey, Jason, it's Corey. Can you comment towards the combi operation with regards to that added volume compared to some of the other combis on the market where, and just how the differences and how that would kind of operate?
Right. So first of all, with that volume, it presents a challenge because if the volume is ice cold or room temperature, it would typically take longer to receive hot water at the fixtures. So we're utilizing a preheat function that works to maintain some minimum temperature periodically within that volume. And what it in effect does is ends up providing better response at the fixtures. But once you get running, as the flow rate and the load changes dynamically as the faucets open and close, the mass actually helps to stabilize the temperature delivery.
So is the water volume of the FTV in the middle of the Cermeta and the TFT?
It's very close to the TFT.
Jason, what's the purpose of the insulation around the heat exchanger? Is it because the heat exchanger gets hotter than others, or?
Well, when we are doing our performance testing, well, not performance testing, but testing for temperature, we did notice enough of an improvement by adding insulation versus not that we thought it was worthwhile. We've really, even besides the extra insulation, we've upped the post-purge of the fan to really compensate for any temperature issues anyway.
Is that an adjustable post-purge time in that control?
It is adjustable. It's defaulted to 255 seconds.
Okay.
Range number. And it can be adjusted down to 5 seconds, but we'd certainly recommend keeping it higher. The advantage with the controller now, and this translates to other models using the same or similar controller, is the post-purge is preempted by a new demand. So for instance, if you're 7 seconds into a post-purge, if you turn the fixture back on to want more hot water, it will immediately fire. It won't have to complete the whole post-purge.
Which is a huge feature compared to everybody else's combi, I believe.
On that subject, is there a delay between if you switch from a domestic call to space heating or vice versa? Obviously, there wouldn't be a delay going to domestic water, but going to space heating from domestic water, is there a delay at all?
There's no delay. It switches over immediately, and we'll either shut the burner down if the temperature is over the off temperature for central heating, or we'll maintain it on if it's below.
Thank you.
Jason, it's Jason. What's the preheat temperature?
The preheat temperature is around 100 degrees.
Okay.
There is a little description in the manual about the preheat, but it's also timer based. So if preheat had just shut off, it won't allow itself to turn back on for some time.
Do we have a set time on that?
It is a set time limit. It's somewhere around an hour.
Okay.
And that function can be shut off, correct? And then maybe if it's an unoccupied situation?
It most certainly can be shut off easily from the display.
And how far can you adjust the timing down, Jason?
The timing is fixed. Testing determined that, up to the hour, really it was just a waste of energy, if anything. We really didn't feel the need to go any tighter than that.
Any other questions?
I have a question. It's Clifford Tate. At the beginning, you said that the boiler had some kind of self-cleaning attribute, and I was wondering if that was something corporately we wanted to use as a selling point of the vertical fire tube heat exchanger.
Yes, I'm glad you brought that up. I meant to speak to that. The self-cleaning, in quotation marks, is really meant to tell you that this is as self-cleaning as those other models in the industry that are claimed to be self-cleaning. We never promote self-cleaning of anything, but certainly this product, similar to a TFT product, also fire tube, and some others in the marketplace that claim self-cleaning, tend to require less cleaning than some other products, some other designs. So it's self-cleaning like those, but let's not use that as a selling feature without explaining it.
The TX will fail quicker than.
So was that on the point? Self-clean?
Yeah.
We should put an asterisk with an explanation of what we mean. The last thing we want to do is start opening ourselves up to warranty claims where the guy never cleaned it and he says, well, I got a presentation where it's self-cleaning. So, David, before that thing gets out there, we better get some correct wording on it because that's huge.
Yeah.
Okay.
But our testing, our life cycle testing, has demonstrated that the fouling of this versus, say, a water tube like a TX is very noticeably less.
So what is our official? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Are the FTV toolboxes available yet?
I'm not sure. I will find out.
But what is the factory's position on service intervals? Every year with LP, every other year with natural, or something different?
Yeah, that's a tricky one. I would say after the first year, with any boiler, there should be a thorough inspection investigation. That really needs to be our official stance. If I'm a contractor who's familiar with what with how these operate and what the flue temperature should be and what to listen and look for, I'm going to hesitate opening them up every year if you have a history of it not needing cleaning, say after the first year.
The way I like to say it in training is, and we have to be, I think, proactive on this. Is that, like Jason said, include your first year's cleaning in the quote with the boiler so that they know that cleaning is required. Come back, see what it's like.
I did send an email that I can go on food
service, and then determine if it's required.
Email back.
The other thing that sure
Little did he know that meant more than yeah, right.
Hey guys, can you mute your phone if you're not talking, please?
The other thing we want to promote too is to the contractors is, you know, going into clean boilers is a license to make money. You don't have to have your best guy do it. You can have anybody do it, but you know, like everybody expects to have their car serviced at certain frequency intervals, and they pay for it. So contractors should get used to that, and they can actually make money doing it. So, and to Jason's point, if they come and find out that it doesn't require cleaning for 2 or 3 years because it's, you know, in pristine condition, then don't come back in 3 years. Conversely, they open it up and it's filled with God knows what, then they should increase the frequency. I think that is not just the FTV.
It was drunk and antics didn't help.
His antics, and he was very vocal about stuff. That Andy didn't show up for stuff, to do stuff. Like, you know, just things that had a lot to do with that too, yeah.
Is the flame sensor and igniter common with any other products?
And they brought them on because of 6Bs.
Due to the how shallow the combustion chamber is, they are unique to the FTV series.
How about sensors and all that? Are they compatible with other units?
The sensors are mostly the same. For example, the outlet temperature sensor is the same as used on the TFT and VMAX. Pressure flow sensors are like the TX. Controller display is interchangeable with the TX now.
How about the inducer motor? Is that the same as any of the others?
The inducer motor is the same as that used on VMAX. And that's it, like the same as VMAX products. Gas valves is the same as VMAX and TX.
And Bam Bigelow. Yeah, it's like Richard Christmas.
Sling blade.
Keep going.
Yeah.
Are there any other questions? Okay, Dave.
Yeah, the webinar is finished, so I hope you enjoyed as we did from here. Thanks to all of you, and thanks especially to Dave, Jason, and to all of whom have made it possible. And we will send, like Dave said, we will send the presentation after the meeting together with the recordings of the webinar. Due to the large size of the recordings, I will send you a link from where you can download it. That will be available for 7 days, so please make sure you download it as soon as possible. So thank you, everyone, and we'll see again next time.
Happy hunting. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Thanks.
Good job, guys.
Yeah. Bye-bye.